Are you tired of failing in your Dungeons & Dragons game? Whether you're a player and you feel like you can never go anywhere, or you're a Dungeon Master and feel like your players are just running in circles. Or that moment we've all had at the table where there's that really important thing that's about to happen. Everything comes down to it and then that roll just doesn't happen. Or there's that door that people just can't get through no matter how many times they try and bash it down, unlock it, they just can't get through that door and the whole game comes to a screeching halt. Well, I'm the Dungeon Coach. I'm here to help lower that DC in your game, and today we're talking about failing forward. And if you're unfamiliar with that concept, basically failing forward is whenever you roll or something happens in the game that causes you to fail. You have a moment of failure. You rolled low on the dice, whatever happens, but the story still moves forward. Maybe it's not in an ideal way, but it still goes forward, just with maybe some complications. I'm going to introduce a cool improv topic, talk about success at a cost, and then give a bunch of ideas on how this might look in your games. Also, if you're confused with my setup, yes, we moved. I'm in the dead middle of moving, and I have a one camera, one light setup right now. So, here we go. Most people have heard of the improv concept of yes and, but there's actually 4 versions of this. There's yes and, yes, but, no and no but. The 2 ends are pretty obvious. Yes and means you succeeded and something good happens. And in the worst case scenario of no, that did not happen, but now you also have to deal with this. But the middle here is where the sweet spot of failing forward happens. Yes, I am going to give you examples, but you're going to have to wait a little bit for you. You see what I did there? Yes, you succeeded in the check of still watching this video, but you're going to have to wait a little bit for the examples, which is right now. We're going to use climbing a prison wall to try and get into the prison as the example for all 4 of these scenarios. The group's outside of the prison, they're trying to get in. Here we go. So a quick timeout. What is the goal of the story? How would the story move forward? Getting inside the prison, maybe they're trying to rescue a former NPC that they used to met that got captured. That's the goal. They're trying to move the story forward. Now, yes, the story still could move forward if they did not infiltrate the prison. They find out the NPC was taken somewhere else or other things happen. But let's say we were trying to move the story forward with them getting inside. That moves the story forward. Okay, so they're outside. They come up with the idea to try and climb the walls to get inside. Okay, so the check comes in. You're going to make an athletics check to climb up the wall. Here we go. They roll that check to climb the wall, and here's the first example. Yes, and. Yes, you succeeded, and you're able to climb up the wall all the way to the top and slip down before anyone notices you. Now, yes, I know right there, Dungeon Masters, there might be another stealth check that they need to make, so an athletics check to climb the wall, and then a stealth check to be able to, sure, of course, have as many checks or as many hoops as these players need to jump through as you want. But also keep in mind, the more checks that you throw out, the more chances they are to have them screw up. Or maybe the more chances there are for them to succeed. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But for the sake of this example, let's just keep it focused on one check, trying to get over the wall. Do they do it or not? Okay, cool. So yes and was yes, they successfully climbed the wall and they got inside, no problem. But now here comes the yes, but. So they make an athletics check. Let's say the DC in your head was 15 and they got like a 13 or something. So close, and you want to keep the story moving forward, and here's a yes, but situation. So did they climb the wall? Yes, but it took them a little extra time. Some rocks slipped and fell and made some noise, alerted the guards. So you're climbing the wall and they get their 13 on the check. You climb the wall, some rocks fall, some noise is made, and you hear 2 guards. Footsteps are coming. What do? That is failing forward. Did they climb the wall? Yes. They are good at climbing walls. It makes sense for them to climb the wall well, whatever. They are climbing the wall. They did that, but something else happened, a complication. Time was lost. Maybe it took them too long to climb the wall. They made something fall. Whatever I said in the example. The story's moving forward now. They are now at the top of the wall. Guards are coming. Now what's the new problem? What's happening? What's happening? Go, go, go. What are the rest of the players doing? What's the player at the top of the wall doing? The story is moving forward even faster now. Okay, back to the examples. What about a no and? That's a weird one. So did they climb the wall? Is the yes or no question is, did they climb the wall? This thing they're trying to do, did they do it, right? The check that is being asked for, right? So let's say it's a no and. This can still move the story forward. So no, they climb the wall, they get up, they slip and fall back down. The wind's knocked out of them a little bit and the rest of the party kind of comes back, gets back up. That athletics check did not happen. So did they successfully climb the wall? No. And a sketchy figure comes in from the shadows and notices they're trying to break into the prison. The sketchy hooded figure now says, I see you want inside the castle. Follow me. They slink back into the shadows, and now what does your party do? Some sketchy figure, some NPC, a new NPC has just came up. You failed at that check to get into the castle. That was a no on the athletics check to climb. And you just met a new NPC that possibly has a new way in. But do you trust this NPC? Is this NPC going to throw you under the bus? Do they have their own nefarious motives? Are they actually a good ally to the party now? Who knows? And then to finish off the scenario, we have the no but, which really just means no, just the straight up most version. No. But now someone else has to try. You know what I mean? That's you want to stay away from the no buts. No buts here at the Dungeon Coach. No buts. No, but really, as Dungeon Masters, I think we should try and stay away from the no, and it's just like not possible. Even at character creation, I try not to say no. You know, there are some times where the rules just get or the request is too much. The thing they're trying to do is too crazy. There are times, yes, yes, there are times that you need to say no as a Dungeon Master. That's an entire another topic to a video. But you should try and avoid these no buts where you actually have them climb the wall to succeed. No. Who else is gonna, okay. There is times where you want to have the people kind of collaborate and try and come up with an idea. And maybe the first check, there's a door. You're trying to get into the door and you can't find the door. The rogue tries the lockpick. Doesn't work. You don't have to implement a no and right away and try and swoop the players up to where they never really fail and they never have a moment where they have to really stop and think because you keep throwing solutions at them all the time. Maybe the first check is a failure and the lockpick didn't work. So you as the Dungeon Master can sit back, see what they do, have some no ands in the back of your mind of what could happen possibly to kind of keep the story moving forward in case of failures. The Barbarian says they're going to try and smash through the door. Okay, and in the back of your mind now, you're ready for that loud noise for the guards to come around the corner or whatever. So he smashes into the door, and let's say he succeeds. Okay, cool, he succeeds, and then the story keeps moving. Let's say he fails. Boom, the door you could describe the door flying off its hinges, bang, making a loud noise, and even that thought I think might blow some Dungeon Masters' minds because you're so in a box of the check. Does it fail or succeed? In order to bust through the door, they need to hit a 15. If they hit a 14, they don't. So I'm just challenging you Dungeon Masters to think of, yeah, sure, set a DC, have the success range be, okay, cool, like this is where they need to hit, and it's a success, great. If they go even higher, maybe something even better happens. But if they are below it, and I usually use within 5. Like if it's within 5, that's where my no ands kick in. So that DC 15, if they get that 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that range right there, no, and it actually maybe the door does open, or maybe they do climb the wall, etc. Time out. Does failing, whether it be in life or in a game, make you sad? Do you know what I do when I get sad from failing? I snuggle up with my Kobold plushies from Hero Plush. This is the sponsor of this video is these Kobold plushies. They're from the Gallant Goblin. They just launched this whole line of them. There's a ton of different colors. And so, here, look. They have every color Kobold you could possibly think of, and each Kobold comes outfitted with a bunch of different little equipment and things you can put on them. And you can even mix and match them. I got the purple one because my favorite color is purple, and my son's favorite color is blue. Although now he's 3, so it's orange. It's going to change a lot. I need to order an orange one. But anyway, they come with stuff. This one starts off as a bard, and this one starts off as a fighter. Then you can switch them. Boom, there you go. Now he's got a sword and shield on this one. You can swap them out with his little Velcro stuff. They are honestly pretty cute and adorable. I have little kids and everything. They love them. I think it's a purple dragon, guys. Come on. How could I not? You can go to HeroPlush.com and use code DungeonCoach for 20% off. Big thank you to Gallant Goblin and their Hero Plush line for these little things. Put a little smile on my face. Sometimes when you want to fail forward, you don't even need to fail forward. You can just be okay failing one of these guys. All right, check the link in the top of the description. Let's get back to it. This all basically comes down to success at a cost. Yes, they succeeded, but what else kind of unideal happened along the way? The best thing to call this is a setback. There's some sort of setback that happens, whether it be time, resources, whatever you're trying to get to. I've done a skill challenge before where the players are trying to get to the town. The purpose of the skill challenge is not to see if the players get to the town or not. That's why would I even make them make check? They're going to get there, right? But how quickly do they get there? How much time did it take? If they fail multiple checks within a skill challenge, or if they fail a certain check to try and get somewhere fast enough, whatever you want to do as a dungeon master, if they failed that check, however many checks there were, if they failed, it doesn't mean they didn't get there. It just means maybe it took them more time. So they're trying to deliver something to an NPC. They arrive there. They made it there. It's not like they didn't get there. They're there, but they lost time. Maybe the NPC had an item that they were supposed to get, but they already sold it to somebody, and now they have to go find that person. Or now maybe the NPC is upset, and they have to do something for them to earn their favor back before they can move forward. But there it is, move forward. The story is still moving forward. They are moving forward in the story to get to the NPC. They failed the checks to get there, and the story still moves forward because now they have a new quest that they have to do and accomplish now. It's not ideal. They would have much rather probably got the thing and been done and now go to what they're trying to do. They have to take a little side detour, but the story and the action is still moving forward. Another big thing to think as a dungeon master when it comes to thinking about success at a cost is how much is that cost? Maybe there's time constraints on the story or pacing purposes, and you really want them to get to that NPC and then move forward because everyone's really excited about this, or you only have 2 sessions left before someone has to leave. There's tons of reasons why that you might need to move the story forward in a faster way, and you don't want them to get to that NPC and now they'll be like, oh, now they got to go on a quest. If you don't want to have the cost be an entire side quest they have to go down, that's a bit more punishing of a cost, or a bit higher of a cost. Maybe that cost is a simple role play interaction where they get to them and the NPC's frustrated and they're just kind of like mad or angry at him, and that's just fine, thanks, now just go, and now they maybe lost an ally, or maybe they may feel bad in some way for it, and that could be the only cost. It's the littlest of costs. Role play cost. Maybe they cut a little bit of gold off their reward. Instead of getting 200 gold, they get 150 gold. It doesn't have to be a big cost. And the cost as far as time at the table doesn't have to be a big thing as well. It could be a real simple thing that you just, now this person doesn't really like you as much, or now this happens. Okay, so moving on. But also be careful there on the whole moving on part, because if they do keep failing at certain things and there is no sort of, ramifications that happen for it, no sort of consequences that kick in, then it just doesn't matter. The story will keep moving forward. They whatever, who cares? So as a side note, a lot of time with my players, I let them know after an interaction happens what could have maybe happened, or if things went better, or what could have maybe happened if things went worse. I know that's a lot of meta information, but I think that does go a long way to let the players know, how much we succeed or fail by. It matters. The story, yes, it's moving forward. This NPC is now frustrated with us now. Now we can't get into the wall. We have to go find a different way. We alerted the guards. But there could have been other ways where we got in without anyone noticing. And you can let those players know that did succeed really well and they got rolled really high. Those guards were just around the corner. Nice job, y'all. Okay, so now a huge tip for those times in a game where things have came to an absolute halt because they just can't get through the door. Yes, the concepts of yes, but, and no, and, all those things. Yes, we'll keep the story moving forward. But I want to establish one thing of a baseline to all checks. A baseline check in this way just means when someone makes a check for something, whenever some sort of knowledge or what they know about this, or who do I know? What do I see here? I walk into a room, I see this. I look for this, I find this. I think about this, I know that you need to have a baseline. Even, yes, on a natural 1, even on if somebody rolls a 5 or somebody rolls a 4, somebody rolls terribly, you need to have a baseline of what that person would know. If a person walks into a room and you need to describe what's in that room and they roll a natural 1 on a perception check of some kind, yes, of course they don't find anything extra, but it's not like they just go blind. They walk in and they don't see anything. There's a baseline of what that person would see, know, or find. A big trap that dungeon masters fall into when running games is if I need them to find something, I need them to find a certain note, and this note is the key. If they find this note and they read the note, they can find, now we know we need to go here because that's where the thing is, right? Whatever they're trying to look for or find or whatever. If they need to find that, don't put that behind a DC 15 investigation check. No. If there's a desk with a bunch of papers on it, that's part of the baseline. Things that need to move the story forward, this whole failing forward concept, I'm kind of now talking about just moving the story forward. You need to find that thing baseline. Maybe in your head you could change on the fly or retcon or whatever you need to have to where the information, if they roll below that 15, maybe the information on that piece of paper isn't as specific, but they find it and they know they need to go that way, but maybe they just don't have as many pieces of the information. They can still go, they can still move the story forward. And if they hit that 15, then yes, they find it. And if they get a 20, and I usually do by 5s, and if they succeed by 5, then it's even more, and I get even more specific with them. They find find more stuff, they see more stuff, they know more stuff. But don't put key things that move the story behind checks that have to succeed. You should never have at any point, you should never have a point of your adventure where a certain roll needs to be hit for them to move forward. Oh man, that's rough. One of my first campaigns I ever run, they found a treasure room and there was a thing they needed to do. There was a puzzle and they couldn't figure out the puzzle, but I did that on purpose. I wanted to show them something and find something that they couldn't solve yet. Ha ha ha. And they had to come back to it later. And it felt terrible at the table. They felt like, oh, well, why are we here? They got absolutely nothing, ran into a wall and then left. And if I were to rerun that, I would not just like, oh, never put anything in front of your players that they can't find out or no. No. I would still put that thing. They still would hit a wall and they would go there and not be able to get it. But they need to have something. They need to learn something. Maybe they've learned some new information. They find a new item. They need to get something and then they can go. They learn that they can't get into this place, but while doing that, they found some things. They learned some things about, oh, wait a second, that means let's go over here first and then we can come back. I didn't leave my players with that. I left them in the middle of nowhere, right? But you live and you learn. And if you need your players to find a certain thing or see a certain thing or remember something, give them that at the baseline. Don't bury it behind a check. And as a little extra bonus tip here, I would also be careful with having a check be behind a piece of paper that you then hope that they read. I can't tell you how many times I've given my players a clue, but the clue was the piece of paper sitting on a desk. And I say, you find this stuff and you see a book. You see a book and the title of the book is this. And I thought that would be enough information for the players to open the book and start reading it, and they would have found something, but they just sit on the book. And then I'm like, oh no. So the layers there to keep things moving forward would be to have them find that book or note at the baseline check. They do an investigation check to find something. You find this, you find that, you find the note and everything. And then have potential safety nets in place. It doesn't have to happen right away. You don't have to force the clue onto them. That would feel bad and heavy-handed, right? They have this book that has a key answer to something. And let's say they don't read it, okay? Maybe next session, somebody's coming around, they're looking for a book. Have you heard there was a lost book that this thief was looking for this certain book in this place that you guys were at? Did you find one? Other NPCs are interested in it. You could even talk with the player and let's do an inventory check to see what they have. In a recap that you give at the beginning of the next session, you could be like, whenever you went there, you found all these things in this really interesting book that you guys had, and you could weave in little things like that too. But this whole thing is about the topic of moving forward, failing forward and having the story keep moving forward, and don't let low rolls of dice stop the story. Yes, put in setbacks. Yes, success at a cost. Make them lose time or resources or allies or whatever, but at least let the story keep moving forward so that they keep having things to move and they don't feel like they are just absolutely stuck. Because that feels bad for both players and dungeon masters. And if you're tired of feeling bad and you want to have extra tools to help yourself and give supplements to your game, then think about checking out my Patreon. Look at that segue. Every single month on Patreon, we do monthly PDFs that give resources to dungeon masters to be able to help facilitate and boost your games with extra magic items, player perks, bonuses, adventure side things that go on it, encounters, towns, cities, NPCs, everything. Every single month, I give a sneak peek post about what's coming in the next month so you can see what you're in store for and you can check it out. And all previous editions of every PDF is available on my website, link down in the description. So until next time, stay creative, think outside the box. Peace.